Moving on to you, Adrian. You're up next. You went from just over $30 million in production in 2018 to $65 million in 2019, and then over $100 million in loan volume in 2020 with just a small team. What do you attribute as the main turning point, or the moment, if you will, that fueled this tremendous growth spurt, and what was the most valuable lesson you learned from that experience?
Gosh, well, thanks for having me. It's good to be here with this great group. Well, unfortunately, in January 2019, lost my older brother, and it was a time in my life where I was like, gosh, things are so valuable, and all of a sudden it's like so many things have changed, and have I brought it as a great husband? Am I a great team member? Am I a great mortgage advisor? And I was like, I work hard, I hustle, I do what I can, but do I just leave it all on the table? Like, do I have a project I want to do and I leave it off a day or two, or do I? But I was like, you know what, I can do better. So I was starting to read some stories, and I'm no historian, of course, but I saw the story about Hernan Cortez when he came to the New World, and he had 600 people, 600 troops that he was with, and he went and fought, and they came back to the ships, and then the third time, I guess, he's like, I'm burning the ships, we're all in, and there's no coming back, right? So I brought that mantra to my team, which in that position, it was one person, so I was just getting going, right? So then I talked to my company, I said, hey, this is my vision, I'm like really passionate about this, I know that I can do better, 30 million is okay, but, and back then, gosh, we forget what volume is these days now that it's so different. But I got them to allow me to hire another person. And then our operations manager saw, wow, he's so passionate. And she got her sister on my team. And then we started to get people like-minded. And it was so like we got to decide that this was our thing. And then you get the right people around you to support your vision. And that was a big moment in my life. I mean, obviously, your title of your show is so good, but losing my brother brought me to where am I living out my potential? Am I doing everything every day? Do you want to sleep in? Sure, but we get to wake up at 4:30 or 5 or whatever that number is, and we get to make these calls, right? So it just was a mind shift for me to where I was like, I'm doing it, and I'm ready to just go all in, and I want the right team and company behind me, and I found that I'm so lucky and grateful.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. I really appreciate you sharing that. In the midst of you having that moment, was that feeling of, I'm going to utilize this as fuel and as a launch pad to take me to the next level, was that sort of instantaneous, or was it sort of a process of days or months or even years in which you had to really sit in that and to really try to understand what that meant, that you could be here one day and still have so much unfinished work to do, and then the next day you could not be here?
Yeah, well, it happened fairly quickly. I mean, my brother was in an accident when we were younger, so he was a fatality on the scene, and his life was a gift. I mean, we were so lucky to have him for as long as we did, and then it instantly was like, I've done so much, but I haven't left it all out there. And every day, so I prepare, and it changes the way that I look at a day. Like, we all work hard here, but you have it where you're like, you know what? It's nice out. Let's go to happy hour.
Yeah, right.
I don't do that because I have this commitment, and it makes decisions easy for me. And it's great in one way, but then it's also kind of tough because with my team, when you want to live your ultimate potential, it's not a volume target. It's not a number of units or families you help. It's how can we be better every single day? And there's times where we might hit 10 million. I'm like, let's do it twice in a row. They're like, we just hit 10 or we just hit 12. It's like, that doesn't matter to me. That doesn't drive me. It's like, how can we be better? Or we hit 18 on-time closings. And I'm like, but what about this one? Why do we miss that one, right? So it's like, it's a little empty sometimes. It's probably, and I've had to find the right people around me because there's times where, I don't really stop and smell the roses, and because there's always that much more that I want to do. But the other side of it is it brings this complete consistency where, because I don't do things for volume or a paycheck, I do it because I want us to be the best and I want to just live out our best potential. It means that I show up consistent every day. I'll do that Saturday night call. I'll do a midday Sunday Zoom call with a client because they need a house and I want to help them. And if our team can continue to grow, and I want to keep our team small because I want to be a part of the process, and that's my big why, is if you're really clear on the why, I think that it makes the decisions easy, and it makes it easy to find the people around you that are going to be the ones that can really like help you flourish.
Love that. Love that answer. Just crushed that. Thank you so much. Within that, after you made the big decision, I'm going to turn Adrian 1.0, I like to call it, to 2.0. Did you already know what needed to be done prior that you haven't been doing? Or was it a situation like, there's so much more left, what do I need to do? Or what do I need to know in order to take my business and my life to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I always had some direction. I'm in the core, and actually it was around the same time that I joined, as I had some structure, but having the team, so our branch manager gets involved. Ryan Bukowski is a huge part of our team, and then with COVID being remote, my sister-in-law is in Nevada, and she could join the team, and she's been amazingly helpful. And then I had a guy on my team that he went back to the industry he was in, but he got his younger brother on the team, and so you just get the right people around you. And I've always known what to do, but you can't do it on your own, right? So you need these supportive people that are there, and we have a great company behind us. But and believe me, I'm still learning. So I mean, I feel like, yeah, I have an idea of what to do, and I know, but there's nobody's going to work harder or be more committed than any of us, and we're just super, super lucky. Yeah.
I love that. What was like the first big thing? You're like, okay, this is a roadblock, or this is an opportunity for growth here. Like, what was the first big major thing that you decided as a team, we're going to handle this or improve upon this, or even stop doing?
Such a good question. Yeah, so, well, first off, it was just I had one team member, right? So I hired a second, so that was good. And then it was like, how do we have a process to make sure that we're all working together? And then it was just grit and determination. I just put in more hours. I'm so for it. My wife is like the most understanding and great. You know, Amanda, thank you for just letting me. She makes a lot of sacrifices to our time. We don't really do vacations. I don't unplug. I haven't unplugged in 11 years, and maybe people look at this and go, that's pathetic. But I would be in Ireland at 3 a.m. and making phone calls because it's an 8-hour difference, and that's what it took, right? So, and if you love what you do, it's not like I didn't feel like walking down the street at 3 a.m. when the whole family's sleeping was weird. I was just doing what I love, right? Just making calls. So last 10 years I haven't really unplugged. I've just really been excited about what I get to do, and again, we get to do it, and that's where I think that was the big mind shift in. We don't have to do anything, and my brother would love to have the ability to do any of what we do, but he's no longer here. So it's like I get to wake up early, I get to work hard, I get to call clients, I get to meet with business affiliates. Like, we get to do these things, and it's just a way to kind of live my life, really.
Wow, absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Adrian. Do you guys have any questions for him?
I have a question. On those days where you're maybe not as motivated, right? No matter how much fun we have and how motivated we are, and we all have those days, right? What is something that you do to kind of get out of that?
And again, it comes back to just that clarity of I get to get up. Now, there's still, we're all human, right?
Yeah.
So there's those days, and I just don't let it happen a second day. Mm-hmm. So I might have a day where I'm like, gosh, I'm not feeling it. And if you work a lot and you just have a day like that, I might just go and hit a couple golf balls. I'm like, look, I'm not going to be good here. I'm not good for anybody right now. But I promise you, the next day, I'm going to wake up and be ready. I mean, I only let one day get out of there. And then the next day, it's like refocus, recharge, and then get back to it.
Yeah.
Adrian, going from like 30 to 60 million, to me, that's even more impressive than going from 60 to 100, because everybody, like we talked about, last year was a record year. It was a banner year, right? Like refis were falling out of the sky. What do you think was the number one, or a couple things that were tools or things that like were just the most impactful going 30 to 60?
Well, I think it was mindset, number one. I believed I could do it, right? So I had for years said, I want to do 50 million, and I'd write the goal down, but would I take the right steps, or would I put like the plan together and say I'm going to do it? And like I said, when I said I'm burning the ships, I'm like, there's no turning back. Here's my plan. I'm going to make all the calls I said. I'm going to be on green time. I'm going to track it. And then I'm going to go back and say, okay, yesterday wasn't great. I'm going to make sure I do it today, right? So it was really just getting super clear on it, and then tracking it every day. And then if you didn't have a great day, I don't beat myself about it. But the next day I'm like, you know what? today's a new day. I'm gonna make it, right? So it was really just kind of having that mindset, I think, and believing that number, and part of being in the core, I think, helped too, because I'm like, there's nothing super special about that guy. He's doing a lot more business than I am. I'm like, that's where the potential comes in. I'm like, I know that our team and our company has the potential to be way better, and if I don't bring it and make sure that we do that, then I'm not kind of doing justice to my company or my team or my wife or my family, anybody. That if you can be the best you ever can be, just try and do everything you can to do it,
It's funny. I went to a coaching event, and when I was new in the business, I was a full-time fireman, part-time lender. So everybody had this mystique around them. And then you go to an event, you're like, if these guys can do it, like anyone can do it, right? But the difference was they just consistently, like you mentioned, they had a plan and they consistently worked the plan, even if the plan didn't work day over day, because they believed it, and they saw others who worked the plan, the same plan, and it worked day over day.
Yeah, it's that discipline of each day, looking at what it was, and then, gosh, I now know, here's how many outbound calls I should make every day. Fell short, or here's how many live calls. So having those metrics to know like what that perfect day is or perfect week is, and then tracking and then watching to see if you've done it, that's kind of where it's like, and you look in the mirror and say, gosh, I got to be better today, So.
Love that. Awesome, Adrian. Thank you so much. And on that note, we'll be back after a short break.